She's like, why are you doing that?
Well, this is BlerdTalk with Bola.
And Whitney, who is a little bit under the weather, you all.
Yeah.
She sounds a bit different. Just don't mind it.
Don't mind it. So it is. I think it sounds a little bit sexy though.
Okay. I do like a deeper voice myself. Anyway, so we are BlerdTalk with Bola and Whitney. You got your fashionista Blerd and Bola, and your tech savvy Blerd and Whitney. And we are here to talk about the topic for this episode is Avengers Infinity War.
But that's later, guys. That's later.
Yes. We did watch that, and we will talk about it. The seriousness of it. Much later in the episode. First, we're going to talk about our usual segment, which is blerding out. So, I'm going to go first this time and talk about what I've been blerding about this week. So, y'all, I went on vacation to Miami. Welcome to Miami. Something. Okay. Anyway, there's a Will Smith song about Miami, and I don't know all the words. There's some Spanish in it too, so I don't know. But I was in Miami this past weekend, and I loved it so much. I had a little bit of taste of everything, and I went when it wasn't too hot. It was just great. I enjoyed every little thing. I went down for a wedding with my with some family friends, and they're from the islands too. So it was just great because there was some dance hall music that was played, which is close to Afro beats, which I love. And so I love to get my dance on, y'all. I got a few cups of wine in me, and I was dancing, y'all. I was dancing. I had a good time.
You should be dancing.
Yeah. Wait, we have to start from the beginning. What you doing in your bed? Hey, what you doing in your bed? Hey, you should be dancing. Yeah. Dancing. Yeah. Anyway, I love that song. But, I had such a good time, Whitney. Florida's so beautiful. It's something about that place. It's so colorful, full of culture. I love that I was like hearing Spanish music in every little corner I walked at.
That's funny. I've never actually been to Miami. I've been to Orlando multiple times, but never Miami.
I enjoyed myself in Miami way more than Orlando. We had a really nice carnival. Yes.
What's the difference that made you enjoy it more?
I'm not gonna lie. When I went to Orlando, I went with my mom and the family friend that I went to Florida with this time too. Uh-huh. But they're both older ladies, and we did not go to any of the amusement parks. Oh. We went to the theme park. The only one we went to was the Holy Land Experience. And I was like, trip to Florida for my graduation, but this is the only place I'm going to. I mean, I liked the Holy Land Experience, but it was nice, but I was like, man, I wish we could just roll up to Disney real quick.
See, well, you can't make an actual judgment until you actually go to Orlando.
You're right.
The right way.
Anyway, somebody was scaring me about alligators, so while she was trying to sell me a timeshare, not knowing that I wasn't the one paying for the vacation, I was like, she was telling me about how she hit an alligator with her car, and then they're all over the place. So I was like, okay, hurricanes and alligators just coming across the street. I'd rather deal with a deer in this area of Richmond, VA, than deal with the alligators. That was scary. I don't like alligators. So she made me scared while I was driving, because I did all the city driving. And it was another road trip. So I'm not gonna lie, the drive was probably the worst part of Miami. Driving down from Virginia, Central Virginia, all the way to Miami's like near the coast, you know?
So like 14
near
hours.
The bottom. It was more than that. It was like 16 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was only 14 if you drove straight without stopping. Mm-hmm. And we had to stop because it was too long. And so we had several drivers in the car, but everyone was so tired. And, you know, the car kind of keeps you in this kind of lull, listlessness. You're just like, oh. I was trying to read and I couldn't. And I just kept getting sleepy. So the drive was like the main thing that was like bad. I think if we had been able to stop over, like I did with my other long trip I took with a bunch of friends, we drove from Richmond to to Kansas City. But we stopped over.
Missouri? Mm-hmm. Is that in, like, the middle of the country?
Mm-hmm. It was totally different time zone.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And so we drove there, but we had a stopover where we all got to sleep at night. So it made it, we woke up in the morning fresh, started driving again. I think that would have been better. But we took a lot of small little breaks. But I still enjoyed road trips. It's nice. Just the car ride was really long. But Florida was so beautiful. I loved it so much. It was the palm trees and the atmosphere. It was lively. It was colorful. I went, after the wedding, we went for some of the friends I had made that are around my age. I think they were cousins of the lady that I had gone on vacation with. But they were like, let's go out. You guys, let's go get some drinks. Let's go see some. So one of them, he lives in the Virgin Islands normally. Shout out to Jay Williams. Hey. He lives in the Virgin Islands mostly, but he has friends all over. And so he had a friend that was in Miami, and he was like, yeah, I got my friend. He can take us out. He can show us. So we all went in his car, and he was like a tour guide. He was telling us about this. That boy's taking us to this club, that club. I've never bar hopped in my life, but I actually enjoyed this time. Because if you don't like a certain place, I like not getting stuck there. The first place he took us was really cramped. Like, everybody was in this club, but it was really smoky. Like, everyone was smoking and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, trying to get a drink took like 20 minutes. Because everyone was trying to get at the bartender. Yeah. But I had the best mojito ever in that club. And then they had music I didn't really care for. All that new Drake and hip-hop. I mean, I don't mind Drake, but I'm just not so much into the new hip-hop-ish stuff. Not all the time. So I like it, but it doesn't get me going. Dancing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I want something that really gets me going. Some of the stuff that we used to listen to, you know? Yeah. I'm about to be 30, so I like some other stuff. So I was just like, the music is not that popping. It's not dancey, really. So I was happy to get out of there. So he took us to another place that was like really empty. But it was nice because we just got to sit down and talk with each other. We got another drink and just sat down, like, and took some pictures when they were closing. And I just loved it. It was nice. Our hotel was really nice. We were at the 36th floor. 35 really, because apparently I learned that a lot of hotels that go beyond a certain number of floors don't have a floor 13. Oh, yeah. And I was like, what? I'm not superstitious, really, but I'm like, what? I was like, what's up with that, you know? Yeah. So we were really on the 35th floor, but it was 36. And I took some great pictures. We had some nice food. It was just lovely. I was like, I gotta go back with just the girls so we can have more fun. Yeah. Because Saturday was monopolized by the wedding and things. And also the driving. Somebody else has to drive because they were really reckless down there at the driving. And I couldn't take it. Somebody had to take over for me because they're like, you can't be no courteous driver. Look how they're driving down here. You get out of the car. I'm going to drive now. She got so tired of me driving. So is it like New York or something? I don't know. Just like, they're kind of, they rush and they like go over each other. They're like, hey, get in where you can fit in, okay? I remember some dude stopped right in the middle of the road. Traffic was trying to go and he just wanted to take something out of his car to give to somebody. Wow. He stopped his car right in the middle. We were all watching this. And I was like, what is he doing? Is he on drugs? Literally, he like stopped right in the intersection just to give somebody something. And other cars were trying to pass. It was crazy. And I was like, oh, I'm in Miami. The only thing I was mad is I really wanted a mimosa while I was there. And I couldn't get one. Well, you can get a mimosa here. Yeah, so let's do that one day. Mimosa in DC. Ooh, yeah. Let's get a mimosa here. Maybe brunch or something. That'd be nice. Yeah. There was a lot of shopping to be had, but there was a lot of expenses. It was expensive. But they had a lot of jewelry. I bought some jewelry. You know I love jewelry, right, Whitney? I do know that. And so it was awesome. So I'm learning out about Miami. I love you, Miami. And I learned what Miami meant. Apparently it's an Algonquin word for like a certain group. And Algonquin like the Algonquin Indians? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Apparently in their language, Miami, like a variation of it, was used to describe them as a people group. Oh. And so that was interesting to learn. I don't know who ended up using the name for that city. And it's totally not like when you think Miami, you really don't think Native American. You really think like Hispanic culture, Cuban especially. Mm-hmm. A lot of bodegas, a lot of different like Spanish culture. Like I said, I kept hearing reggaeton and Spanish music playing like different places and spots. Yeah, and I liked it, but I thought that was very interesting. I never knew where Miami came from. So Google, you rock.
That is awesome.
I'm gonna let you go now because I've been talking too long, but I do have a blurting out number 2 thing.
Okay.
You go first. You go next, I mean.
Next thing. I have been blurting out about a show called Forged in Fire, Knife or Death.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the show. It's on History Channel. There's this one show called Forged in Fire, and it's a bladesmith. It's a reality competition about bladesmiths. Which
you would be interested in some blade. So violent, Whitney. You just have weapons. I bet you would love to have like a whole thing of weapons.
That would be awesome. What are you talking about? I bet when the zombie apocalypse comes, whose house are you going to want to come to?
That's true, because you're going to have, like, guns, knives, swords, and anything else. Shuriken. Oh, man. I do like swords, though.
Yeah. So, for people who don't know, a bladesmith is just a blacksmith who makes, who specializes in making blades, knives, swords, etc. But, they have a spinoff that started, like, a few weeks ago or a month or so ago. And it's called Forged in Fire, Knife or Death. So instead of people, like, making swords, they have people come in with their own bladed weapons. And they have to basically go through this, like, intense course where they have to cut and, like, stab different, like, objects.
Oh, my God.
To see how well their weapon holds up and how well they can use the weapon. So they have to, like, cut through ropes. They have to cut through, like, buckets.
So not only do you have to be good at making the...
Well, you don't have to have made your weapon for knife or death.
Okay.
You can have bought it or whatever. You just have to... It's focused on you being good at using...
Okay. Because I was like...
the weapon.
Wait, you gotta be good at making them and using them?
No, Forged in Fire, you have to be good at making them. Forged in Fire, Knife or Death, you have to be good at using it.
Okay, interesting. You would love a show like this.
I do.
Just stabbing and grabbing.
I was watching another episode today, and I was like yelling as if I was at like a live football game or something. I was like, yeah! I was like, yo man, I was like, you gotta slow up, you can't go too quick. I was like,
Did anybody have a chakram?
No one's had
Nakia's ring blades.
Chakram probably wouldn't be very as effective in this particular course, like with the different things they have, because there are certain...
Xena! Hashtag Xena.
Yeah, but that's what I've been blurting out about.
Oh, cool. Knives and such. We'll have to look at that I'm kind of interested to see who was on that show. Like, I imagine some people that are like Dwight from The Office. My sister's been watching The Office, like binge watching it. And so I've been noticing how crazy Dwight... I love Dwight, actually. His character is so out there, but unique. But he has weapons all over the office. And so you saying that makes me think about somebody like Dwight being on a show like that. Like, he would be on a show like that. And be like, I'm gonna win it. Oh, I'm gonna stab and grab and steal and whatever.
The guy who actually won the episode I just watched, the new episode, he was actually
somebody... is it that episode like people win?
Yeah. So, Forged in Fire, the one that's like the bladesmithing competition, that one is episodic. It's just like each episode is self-contained. Though they have like fan favorite ones where they'll bring people back who like fans liked a lot and have them compete against other fan favorites. But Knife or Death, the way they're going to do it is each round, like each episode, one person wins. But then at the end, they're going to have all of the winners compete for the like grand prize.
Oh, so there's going to be like a super obstacle course, right?
I don't know if they're going to have a super obstacle course or if it's just going to be like... everyone competing one more time, but the best competing against the best.
Okay, I can see that. That's
but I don't know for sure because they haven't gotten there yet. This is the first season. It's like a new show.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you're loving that right now.
I'm loving it. Because one day I'm going to make myself like a carpentry / glass blowing / blade and blacksmithing shop.
Just a lot of doing, a lot of physical.
That's right. A lot of doing, making stuff.
That's cool. I love that you like to make stuff. Okay. So I have one more thing I'm gonna blurt out about. And this is actually another podcast. But because I am someone, everybody knows, well, all you guys know that at the end of the show, we definitely posted our social media and stuff. And mine is called Bola Story B. And the story is really significant to me because I love stories and I love not only fictional stories, but I love real stories too, and I love hearing people's life stories and all that kind of stuff. And so hearing people give poetry slams and all that kind of thing, I love that. And my best friend, Anui, she sent me, love you, Anui. But Anu sent me like a clip of just of someone giving their story out, right? Mm-hmm. And it was this awesome, beautiful story about an older woman who fell in love with a young man. She was 40 something, he was 29. They had like a passionate affair in Europe, and I was all over it. I love stuff like that. I'm like, yes, I wish that was me, you know. And how romantic the guy was, and he was this, and he loved her, and they were doing it everywhere. Oh, and sorry, okay. I was feeling that part too. I'm sorry. But just the romance of it, you know, her life story. But then the problem was that she discovered that she thought she could just live her life with him. But she discovered that after a while, he being a young man, he was only 29, he wanted children. Mm-hmm. And she had already had 2 grown children. Mm-hmm. And so she just felt conflicted because she's like, I don't want any more children. Uh-huh. And she could not keep him from that thing because, you know, she knew that's a goal of his. He wanted to be with her. They loved each other. They like cried and they like obsessed and they like tried to separate and they came back together to just because they had loved each other so much. It was so intense, their love for each other. But she just knew that she could not be what he needed. She did not want to keep him from the joy of having children. Mm-hmm. And so she was trying to set him up with other women and all that kind of stuff. None of it was working. But then she talked about how one day she was in a coffee place by herself in Europe somewhere, and this beautiful redheaded woman dressed nicely in a nice hat just came, and she was a story writer and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she just loved the woman from the beginning. And she was like, I gotta introduce you to somebody. And the guy she was with, and the redhead girl, when they met, they hit it off so well. Mm-hmm. So she felt pleased to leave him with her. And then they had seen each other like 4 years past, and they had seen each other again, and the 2 of them were still together. Uh-huh. And then the redhead and the guy she was with were still together. I think his name was Jean-Michel, and I don't know what the redhead girl's name was. I don't know what the woman's name was who was giving the story. I don't remember. I'm sorry, y'all. But the woman, they were in France, so the redhead girl spoke French, and so in French she had come up to her after the 4 years and was like, are you the fairy? And she ended the story like that. And it was so nice because it was like she had given her this person that they spend their life together. I think they got married and went on to have children and all that kind of stuff. Uh-huh. But it was like she was the fairy that brought them together.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was so cool. But what's really cool is that this was given to me as a clip as part of a show called The Moth, which is apparently like they make shows all over the city, not the city, but all over the nation, where people just come and tell their personal stories. Yeah. And it's real stories. It comes from them, their lives, and all that kind of stuff. And so they make these, it's kind of like listening to a spoken word type of thing. Mm-hmm. Except it could be anybody. They're just kind of telling you a story. Maybe there's a theme for the night, and you bring up a story about that theme. And so they have a podcast where they put all of these stories. And I mean, I was hooked. As soon as I found out what it was, as soon as I heard only that one clip of that one story. At the end, it said, to find out more, go to the Moth. And I was like, the Moth? So I looked that thing up real quick on Stitcher, and I found it, and I listened all day to different stories. Huh. It was wonderful. There were different stories about people's lives, and they were touching. They're like slice of life type things. They're not like full stories, complete. Like some of them are just little bits here and there, and they're all about people's personal experiences. I was so enthralled. I had to thank Anu. I was like, Anu, you have no idea what you helped me find. And the storyteller in me and the story lover in me was like just jumping the whole day. I was listening to it in my car. I was driving around that day, and I just listened to different stories, and I loved it. And now I could tell somebody some of these stories, so I love the Moth podcast now. So, yes, I will promote another podcast. Y'all listen to the Moth if y'all want to really just get some different stories.
Right now. Like, if only to hear that one story, I would like to hear that.
I'm going to send you that story. I'm going to send it to you. Okay. I'm going to send it to you because she sent it to me through Messenger. But that story was beautiful. The way she the way she told the story.
Yeah.
Because she embellished more, and she had an accent. I'm thinking she spoke English, Spanish, and French.
Ooh.
Because she was, oh my god, it was so beautiful. I thought I was in like Under the Tuscan Sun movie or something. And I love movies like that. And so, but I just liked that people were getting up there to tell their stories. And they're just regular people. They have jobs. They have different things that they do. Mm-hmm. They just decide like, no, I'm going to get up, join this thing, and tell my story. And it was really cool. Some of them are funny. Some of them are sad. Some of them are heartbreaking. Some of them are just really cool, quirky. I just like it. So, all y'all feel like stories, it's a nice break from people just complaining about something. Just hear somebody's life, you know?
That's awesome.
I love it. So, I'm blurting out about that.
We'll throw that in the link in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And Bola, throw the one for the episode she's talking about in the show notes, too. Because if you're like me, I want that particular one as well.
Yes, it was so lovely. I'm going to post the video link or something. Because she sent me just that singular one on the video. Mm-hmm. And so I went and went on their website. I looked them up. And I subscribed to the podcast. I started listening right away. But I did not know where that particular one came from. But she just knows me, so she knows that you would love this story. And I'm like, I do.
That is awesome. By the way, people, Bola hasn't really said so much about it, but she is a writer.
Oh, yeah.
She hasn't written anything in a while. In fact, she's got some stories. How's that story going? Been doing some writing?
You put me on blast on the show.
Resignation.
By the way, y'all, her high-pitched shrill voice is because of the Family Guy. It's the Family Guy.
It's Stewie from Family Guy when he's talking to Brian about that novel that he took like years and years and years.
No, she always does this to me, y'all. Always. She's a constant reminder of how you need to get back to writing and stop playing. And I love her for it, but it's like always. But she put me on blast. Just okay. Now, go ahead, Whitney. You talk next.
Oh, that was it. We were on your. Well, I guess
that was all I'm blurting out about. Miami, y'all go visit. Miami. Take money and especially Uber money because the parking down there is crazy.
Uber or Lyft, people.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lyft.
Yeah.
Lyft is quite nice.
Oh, okay. Is it better than? I've never used both, to be honest with you. I've never used them.
Actually, I think people the actual drivers prefer Lyft. Because I think it treats them better. I don't know. Something came out about Uber or something.
Lyft's been popular here. If you go on different, especially on Indeed for job search and stuff, I always see a Lyft ad after looking or applying for things.
Yeah. So
I'm like, Lyft must be really popular around here, around this particular part of the country. Yeah. Richmond, VA, y'all. Richmond, VA.
But yes, Lyft is another option. You guys should also give Lyft a try.
Yes, but I was in Miami. I was like, no, you just can't just roll your car up. And maybe if you find a parking deck, like we did when we went bar hopping, we did find a parking deck. Just stuffed the car in there, and then we just kind of walked around. But we did walk around a lot of places, up and down.
Especially if you're going to go bar hopping. If you're going to be drinking, then definitely do Lyft or Uber, you guys.
Luckily, we all just did 2 drinks, and we were done.
Ah, okay.
Because I had 2 glasses of wine and another mixed drink at the wedding, but I drank water in between, and I ate a lot of food. And I've never been drunk in my life, because I just don't believe in inebriation like that. I don't really care to be drunk. I like social drinking.
Yeah, social
drinking. So I've never been drunk, and the people were like, what? And I was like, yeah, because it's just not me. 1, drinks are expensive. So I was like, I paid $10 for this 1 glass of drink. 2, it's just not me. I like to drink socially to taste things, but I'm like, no, that's not me. I prefer to drink wine, actually. I like savoring and just how the calmness it brings me. Just it kind of relaxes me. So I was not about to, we had drank twice, 2 places, and I was like, you know what? I was done with that second one. If we were going to go somewhere else, to another bar, I was not going to drink anything. I was going to just get some water and keep it moving. But I like to try things. I did try different things. And he told me about, one of the guys that was with me told me about this one thing called Kamboucha. It was like a cider, fermented cider thing. It wasn't beer, but it wasn't... He just told me to try it. It was so weird. I don't know what to call it, but he said that I should really try it. It has a cidery taste. Because I like hard cider, but I don't like beer at all. I really don't like beer. So I was like, anything beer, get out of my face. But I do like hard ciders. So I was like, It has. He said it's fermented. I don't know. I like things that are fermented. Okay. But I'm gonna try. One day we will both try it and we'll see what we say. We'll talk about it on the show.
Okay.
But it's a weird.
We'll have a tipsy episode.
Maybe so. Anyway, y'all, if y'all know about Kamboucha, let us know. Just contact us on our Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. All right. So we got some topics we want to talk about next. Before we get into Infinity War, y'all. I know y'all been hearing about the craziness that has been going on with Kanye West and the stuff coming out of his Twitter and out of his mouth, and there's a lot to be said. And we just kind of want to address it. Topics in Blackness. Maybe that's the segment of Topics in Blackness, okay? I should have some music to go with that. Boom, 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 boom. Something. And so, Whitney, so what have you heard about some of Kanye West's scandalous statements on Instagram and in person?
So what I've heard is basically about the main thing I that stuck out to me that I heard was his comment about slavery. He was when he said that if we've been in slavery for 400 years, he was like, if you're in it for that long, that sounds like a choice. And that was just such a bone-headed, asinine thing to say.
It was an ignorant thing to say.
Yeah.
Ignorant thing to say. And I feel I'm trying to get at, what was he really trying to say? It did not come across. It just says what it says. I just don't get how you could think that black people would want to choose to be enslaved for 400 years. And then he's talking, I remember some of his other tweets were about slave mentality. And also something about dragon blood that him and Trump share.
What?
Yes.
What is dragon blood?
Dragon energy. I'm telling you.
What is dragon energy?
He's gone off the deep end for real, young. But apparently he had said this thing on TMZ. And a black dude in the TMZ had to call him out. They recorded it and everything. He got called out, badly. They were like, we don't know what you become now. Because you're just saying some stuff out of your mouth and it doesn't sound like you're educated. It doesn't sound like you have any pulse on the black community. I understand what you're trying to say, that black people complain about racism too much. That's kind of what one of the comments was. But I was like, we can complain because why? It's still happening. You could say stop complaining if something is over, but it hasn't ended. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what black people are trying to say. It's still happening in different ways. And because of the slavery time is why we feel so disenfranchised, or we feel so, what's the word I'm looking for? Disadvantaged. We have a disadvantage, and I get it. It's still seen. Why do we have, the first black superhero movie in this time as opposed to all the other movies that's been out about superheroes? Why do we have to continue to proclaim, the first black drama actor to get an award at the Oscars or the Golden Globes, whatever he did? And this is 2018, y'all. And so it's people of color, there's the disparity and it's not equal. So for him to say stuff like that, I'm like, do you not get the struggle? I mean, you're rich right now and you're not even married to a black woman. So I was like, do you really get the struggle? I just didn't understand what was wrong with him. He really lost his black card on all his rants. And he supports Trump, which, a lot of black people don't. Let me not get into the politics, I guess. What do you think, Whitney?
Well, I guess Bola's the more current events type person in the duo here, so she's more up on everything, but I gotta say that if he was talking about slave mentality, I can understand that to be free, but still have the mindset of slavery, or saying that we focus too much on racism. I think that there is something to what he's saying, because some people, racism for sure still exists today, but some people make that the thing that holds them back. They rely on that as to why they're not doing anything. and they use that as like a crutch. It for sure exists, and it for sure can have a negative impact on us. But honestly, I feel that people can only hold you back so much.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
There it is out there, and it will have a negative impact on you to a certain point. But if you keep going, somebody somewhere, you're going to triumph. It's going to make you stronger. You're going to be better, faster. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger.
Yes.
More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over.
I love the pentatonic version. Like,
oh yeah, that's awesome.
Anyway, let's not.
But that's how I feel about it, because it for sure exists. But some people really lean too heavily on it, and on some situations where it doesn't even apply. I can't tell you how many times, particularly where I work, people are like, "I didn't get this job." And people are discriminating against me, and me looking at how they run their business or their like documents and stuff. I'm like, dude, your stuff is jacked up. That is why you did not get the job.
I know, right? I get that part, but it's like all this extra stuff that he's saying. It doesn't let us hear that as his main message. Like, well, I'm going back to the 400 years thing. Talked about the choice thing, like that word usage.
Oh yeah, that is awful. I don't even know how you.
If you were linking it to the whole thing about slave mentality, but the problem is he said that choice thing on TMZ and the other thing about slave mentality on Twitter, so they weren't connected. It's just he's just been tweeting too much now. He's been like Trump, just. Take the phone away from me.
And the 400 years thing, that just totally just threw it completely off. Because that shouldn't have even come into it. Because it's one thing to say someone has a slave mentality, but when you bring in 400 years, no, that particular period had nothing to do with mentality.
And I was like, do you not know your history? And there's so many examples of when black people have tried to rise up. They have not been successful. They've been quelled, shut down, and then more systems are put in place to keep them down.
True.
Nat Turner Rebellion, that was like the first and last slave rebellion you ever heard. And they did not get that far, and all of them died. All of them got killed because they got caught. And then look at Black Wall Street. That was coming up, but because the white man thought, at the time, I'm not talking about against white people, but at that time, they were like, no, they're getting too much power. So what? It got burned down to the ground. All of Black Wall Street. I mean, I'm gonna find the thing so you can see what I'm talking about. But so it's like so many different examples, of different ways where the black people have tried to come up and they've been shut down. They've been put down by those oppressive systems and racism and all that kind of stuff. And so the 400 years, they could not, after that Nat Turner thing, you did not see another incident of slave rebellion, of uprising on that scale. Mm-hmm. In fact, that scared them so much that they made sure they keep it on lock. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't even fight those systems and powers that be at the time. So it's like to even suggest that they had a choice in that, in changing their life and not. I'm like, how can you leave your life? Like, how can you leave when you have no money, you have no you have nothing to your name? You can't like just I'm gonna sail back to Africa or the Caribbean or somewhere else. No, there was not even like fast modes of transportation. They could have gotten caught. Like, for me, I'm like, you do not get the system of oppression that was in place. It was so strong. Yeah. So I like to think that to even suggest that, they might have had a choice in it because it was 400 years. I'm like, actually, even the Israelites were enslaved for almost that time.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't get out of that either. So I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyway, Kanye, I just can't. I can't with you.
Yeah.
You've been revoked. You can just go on to the Kardashian land and be one of them, whatever they are, because you are not with the Blackness right now, okay?
Yeah, for sure. But, I think that, like, as far as being, like, held down, I think a lot of it we should be better about supporting each other. Because, a lot of the other communities, Jewish communities, etc., they support their other community, like, business ventures and stuff. And I feel like that the black community, a lot of the times, we're not really good about doing that. On the other side, though,
go ahead.
There is also, to me, the Cain and Abel thing.
Okay, well,
where just because it's a black business, it's like, support them, but it's like, no. just because it's a black business, you still got to bring your A game. You can't just be like Kane, like, I'm just gonna bring here's my sea-level apples, guys.
My little spurts of wheat, little this and that.
Yeah.
Throw it together, slap it in there.
Here's my apples that all have a dent in them. But God, here's my offering. And why you mad about me not bring? Yeah. No, we can't do that. We support each other, but we also need to bring our best game to it.
Going back to it, I agree. I definitely agree because it's not even, I have to say this because I'm black and I can say this too. But I feel like that's not even just an American thing. Mm-hmm. If you look at the continent now in Africa, that's one of the main things that is wrong as well. That lots of times people do not come up to support each other. They're all about grabbing what they can get. Mm-hmm. But my theory on looking and examining history and stuff was that Black people have been shown to be such a strong force that it was only in dividing them could they conquer them.
Yes.
Like, that is how apartheid was even able to be established. You have so many Black cultures and tribes all together in one place in South Africa. Yet these little white people could just come up in here. And the reason why they did it was like they got the two main tribes. The Bola tribe. I tried, y'all. Don't crucify me. I don't do the click languages. My family, they don't do the click languages. But the Xhosa tribe and the Zulu tribe were like two fierce tribes, like really big, prominent ones. What the Europeans were able to do was to turn them on each other and have them blaming each other for stuff. Mm-hmm. So while they were fighting each other, they could come up in there and like, we're going to quell this and put this together. And by the way, we're taking over. And that's how they were able to do it. Like, they got kings and queens in African kingdoms to sell their people off for goods, guns and tobacco and stuff that they never needed to use there in the first place. So it's almost like you see the history of like, that's the way to get to Black people. If we can divide them,
and
have
conquer.
them fight themselves, that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
And Black people have been doing the same thing since. We would be a strong force if we get together, but we are sometimes tearing each other down, tearing each other apart.
We need to, I think it'd be good for us to have our own microcosms of supporting each other's businesses. Mm-hmm. And then if it's not up to par, little microcosms of helping to fill each other's weaknesses. How can this be better? Mm-hmm. Because I gotta tell you guys, if your stuff is crap, I don't care if you're Black. I'm not buying for it. You're gonna have to step it up. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that doesn't mean that you will never get there. We can still work on building each other up, getting each other to the place where we can get there. Come together right now over me. You know,
we sang this song so many times, but it is so relevant right now.
It is because we can be so much. But we've got to be aware of that. We're not even aware of our own
against
power.
Each other, y'all. They've been putting us against each other. We have to stop coming against. So that's why what Kanye has said is so hurtful, because it's like, you don't need to be coming against us like that when we're trying to be solidified right now. And I felt he was coming at Black people's neck. You know, I just didn't get him. I don't get him. He says he's a free thinker, but I just think his narcissism is on another level. That he just thinks he could just say whatever the hell he wants without any consequences, and don't think anyone's gonna like get at him for what he says. And I'm glad that person in TMZ just was like, "What have you become?" Because nowadays I just don't know. Every time he changes hair, he changes his outfit, he's in and out of rehab or for mental instability and stuff. So I'm just like, Kanye, I don't know about you. I'm over it. I'm over him. Let's move on to the next topic.
All right.
All right, so the next topic's in Blackness.
But I'm sorry, guys. I just want to interject really quickly here.
Go ahead.
Speaking of supporting businesses, you know that Bola works with her sister, and they got Shawshi Designs, have some awesome jewelry. So for sure, support that. They've got some amazing things. I'm waiting on my earrings to be made.
Yes, Shawshi. Let's get on her. That's my sister.
But why don't you shout out Bola with the links and stuff on our social media for that?
Yes, so just on Shawshi Designs, at Shawshi Designs, that's basically it, and it's SHAW. So like Shaw and then she, SHI Designs. On Instagram, and you can see all the different designs that my sister makes. We take African fabrics. You guys have been seeing them a lot everywhere. The kente cloths and the Ankara and basically all the African fabrics that you've been seeing in the stores. People wearing them to, the Black Panther stuff, all that stuff. We buy the fabrics and everything. We make jewelry out of it. And so, she does most of the making and I just help. So it's called Shawshi Designs and you can find us out on Instagram. Like I said, she has an Etsy store. Everything is on Instagram for now. So check us out, y'all. Yeah.
That's right, you guys. And if you're looking for some good fashion advice, Bola is available as a stylist.
Very
personal
true.
Shopper.
Very true. Very true. And if you're looking for business advice, I say contact Whitney at Luminavi Studios.
Oh, thank you, Bola.
Yeah, so plugging, we're not shamed, what's the word I'm looking for?
Shameless.
Shameless plugging, yes, over. And now we will talk about the next topic in Blackness, which is the Bill Cosby conviction. Bill Cosby. Well, like I always say, I don't put nothing past nobody. So, yes, you're shocked and surprised because everyone keeps attributing these actors, these people, and their characters to their personal, characteristics and stuff. And I have to tell you all, you just need to stop doing that. Because whoever your favorite character or favorite person is, that's not them, okay? That's just a person playing them. Underneath, that person could be a serial rapist, a conniving this, or a glutton this, or an evil bad person, or they could be awesome and their character is an evil person.
For all it could be a real serial killer.
Exactly. I'm just telling you that people, we just need to stop idolizing the people and just continue to love the characters. You know what I mean? Because then you won't get disappointed when stuff like this happens. Everyone is shocked.
There are some legitimate. Well, at least. If you really are, gung-ho about certain actors or actresses, some of them are pretty cool for the things they do outside of, the acting and stuff. Like, those ones who are, really big into different, movements, social, Emma
Watson from Harry Potter?
Yeah. With her,
she did a lot of good stuff, yeah.
He for she and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
With her stuff for, girls and women and stuff, so that's pretty awesome. And then, Angelina Jolie's always been big in humanitarian efforts.
Yes, I'm not saying that they might not be awesome people, but I'm just like any person, they could have faults, they could have failed, and then they definitely can be somebody that shows some, unsavory characteristics. Or they could be all the guys we've been hearing about.
Everybody knows that Russell Crowe is apparently an asshole.
Yeah, see? A lot of people would say, I'm just like, you gotta like the work, but don't idolize the person. Because you don't know who they are. Now, it's I hate to, let me not bring up her. No, I will. Beyonce, for instance. She's an awesome, I give her such props. She's a diva extraordinaire. She's a great performer. One of the greatest performers we have in this time. I like her work, But I don't know Beyonce. Whatever her last name is. No, Carter now. I don't know Beyonce Carter. The person. I don't know how she is or who she is. But I do like her work. And so if something unsavory comes up, I don't get surprised because I'm like, hey, she's a person. I'm not putting it past nobody. So with Cosby, everyone attributes the Cosby character that he was on the show to his personal life. And now we're finding out that's not how he really was, So it's sad because it's our facade is broken,
But that's what happened. You can't put people on a pedestal.
Exactly.
These are all real people. And honestly, people, if you dig far enough and hard enough, you will always find something about anybody.
Yes.
Anybody.
And so they could all be doing stuff. We need to have grace as well as, some space for when they can do that. Grace and space, y'all. Grace for when we know and we find things, when they do sometimes some space. We're they are human. They might not be doing the right thing all the time. And so, but in this case, he definitely apparently was convicted and found guilty of doing something wrong. Which I'm all about the Me Too movement and women, and I'm sorry, I'm right there for the women that are speaking out. Now, I know that people have been giving the Me Too movement a backlash because they're feeling like a lot of these women are now just coming out of the closet because they want some book deals, they want some money, they want some attention. And unfortunately, there might be some like that, but I don't want to discredit the movement because why? This kind of thing has been known to be happening, and it's been known that most women do not speak up about it. I feel like it's fine for them now to be coming out. I'm not surprised you can hear so many stories because it's been swept under the rug. It's hushed up. Like, even Bill Cosby has had a person, and Trump has a person too. Mr. Cohen has actually he got his whole room raided by the government. These powerful men have these hush money people, set up in place just to quell these things from coming out in the media and stuff. So when they do some stuff to a chick or they do some stuff to somebody, they get somebody to push it down and make it go away. That's the power of money and wealth and, power, really. So now that women are like, you know what, screw that, I'm going to come out anyway. Then you have to be like, she just wants a big deal. I don't think that's right. But, I mean, for all the women that are coming at these men just for publicity's purposes, you're going to get yours soon. But I think for this stuff about Bill Cosby to come out so much, and the evidence coming out and stuff, I don't think it's about them trying to take a black guy down. I just think like, hey, if it's this late in the game, it's like, you must have done some of these things too often and it's payback time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm like, if you did, own up to it.
For sure.
Yeah, so they're saying now that he could get 30 years in jail and spend the rest of his life, because he's already 80 years old. And I know how that looks like. Oh, you're going to put an 80-year-old man in jail? I'm like...
Well, he never did any time for it.
Yeah, if he did 80 years worth of damage, 30 years is actually not that bad for 80, or let's say 70, or let's say maybe 60, because, you couldn't have been starting that early with doing stuff, but you never know.
You never know.
Well, what do you think, Whitney, about this Cosby verdict? The wife, there was a quote that on an article I saw that says the wife calls it like a lynch mob, and she says it's like mob mentality, like it's mob justice, not real justice. That was a quote from Camille, his wife, about the conviction.
Well, like I said, I'm not the more,
Yeah, but you can have an opinion
on it, but I feel like if he got convicted, it was because there was evidence. Because, people say there's a such thing as being exonerated in court, but being crucified by, the media or by, America or something. And sometimes you could be convicted for both. Mm-hmm. So it might be true. Maybe he is, mob mentality for that. But is it warranted? It could be. As long as it's not like actual physical damage. But if it's mob mentality damage to his reputation, maybe it's deserved.
Yeah, because apparently he's also been kicked out of he's been kicked out of the academy.
Well, I think if you've done all these things, that's the least.
Well, I don't blame people because they want their organizations or brands to be, far removed from things of ill repute. Let's call it that. So that's automatically, when any of these celebrities or people do something bad, immediately the first thing they lose is their memberships and their endorsements.
Endorsements, yeah.
Because they're like, hey, we don't want anything to do with that. We don't support those things. Just the fact that you can say that this has been happening. And then some of the Cosby kids that have acted on the show have actually come out to be like, oh yeah, we saw incidences of maybe not the sexual stuff, but the dark side of Cosby. Mm-hmm. They saw these on the set after the fact. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, you just didn't say nothing. Because why? You didn't know that he was always bringing girls back and drugging them and then having sex with them and all that kind of stuff. And he was still trying to do it or something. I don't know, but I'm just like, hey, I feel like if it came out this late in the game, you must have done something. You know what I mean? I don't think we should just totally, write it off that, it's just they trying to bring him down. Because he was just chilling the first time, Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're done talking about the top.
Well, I have one thing I wanted to say.
Sorry.
Still with regard to that. All right. We're back. Sorry, guys. I figured nobody wants to hear me hawking and flaming all over the podcast. But what I was going to say is, you guys should check out this Netflix series called 13 Reasons Why. That is, it's an amazing series, but it's one of those ones where you have to be really like in a good space to handle the content, because it's about a girl who kills herself because she was raped, and you find out different things, different people who contributed to her making the decision to commit suicide. But one of the things is, like, before she finally does it, she goes to, like, this counselor, and he's not that helpful. He essentially is almost, like, telling her, like, well, you don't really have anything to show that he did it, and this is a prominent guy, so you might just have to kind of get over it. So it's like, you think about stuff like that, and think about the repercussions, the consequences for the victims. You keep telling these people, well, you should just, keep it to yourself. These are the kind of consequences you can have. So, yeah, like we were talking about this earlier, Bola, and it's like, it's not just about the perpetrator, it's about the victim. It's about some type of justice.
And it's because of the timing. Everyone was like, also like, why is it now that these girls want to come out when the time has passed for some of this stuff? And I'm like, it's just for that reason. Because why? They didn't feel comfortable. There wasn't courage for women to talk about that kind of stuff.
They were suppressed. They weren't heard. And sometimes that's all people need, is to be heard. Maybe, yeah, the statute of limitations might have passed for some people, but like, it's about being heard. It's about being believed. So that's all I wanted to add in there. But we'll throw that, like, a link to that in the show notes as well. You guys should check it out when you're in a good space. If you're in a dark space, do not watch this. You got to be in a good space. But it's fantastic, though, guys. Check it out.
Yeah, so
13 Reasons Why on Netflix.
We are going to go on to our main topic of discussion:
Avengers Infinity War.
Can we just put some sad music under this part, just because the overall reaction?
I was traumatized at the end of this movie. It's a great movie, but I was traumatized.
No lie.
Oh, sorry guys. Spoilers ahead, by the way.
Yeah, so if you have not watched Infinity War, please do not listen
to this.
You should even click this link.
Pause the podcast, and then come back to it later after you have actually watched.
In fact, just while mid-podcast, just go watch the movie, then come back and listen to the rest of this.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so back to this, and I still think we should have some of the sad music playing, some violins or something, because it was so traumatizing, and the movie was great. I'm not gonna lie, it was great. But the stuff that went down, the amount of people that died, oh.
And that's one thing. I didn't, like, when we went to see it, me and Bola and one of our friends, Kimberly asked me, she was like, did you cry? I'm like, nah, I didn't cry. I usually only cry at Pixar movies. But it was funny because I think another reason I didn't cry was because I didn't cotton on to the fact that these people had died. I thought that they were like, I don't know, the way that they
turned to dust, and it was like, it wasn't even only that they died, it's like
they disintegrated.
Yeah, and he eliminated them.
But it was painless. So to me, I didn't quite get the fact that they died. To me, it felt like they were being almost like teleported or something like that. The way that it was done, I didn't like. Sometimes I'm just slow. Maybe if I had watched it a second time.
To me, it looked like they were being erased from existence. That's what made it so painful for me to watch, because it was like, it was almost, because, it was like, for those who prescribe to the Christian faith, it was like, we believe, God had breathed his life into us and out of the dust, So it's like, and there's a verse or a quote, it's like, from the dust you came, from the dust you'll return. Something like that, I think. Oh Lord, anyway. I don't remember if that was a Bible verse or a quote from someone else, but it's almost like, if you prescribe to that belief, it's like, oh, they went back to the dust. So they went back to their original form, formless, without life. That kind of thing was what was getting to me. And I was just like, no, the different people that existed and the people we love. By the way, some people just did die, not at the hands of Thanos doing. People died just earlier on in the show. in the movie.
I found it, by the way.
What was it?
Ecclesiastes 3. Ecclesiastes 3:20. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return.
Exactly. So it seemed very. I know that's a good one, but it seems so. I don't know if final was the word, but it seems like to me, like I said, it seemed like they were eliminating them from the existing.
That's a good way of
That's why with the disintegration and like the body would gray out and then turn to dust and it would just disappear. And I remember when Black Panther had disappeared, looking at Okoye's face, she was like in shock when she was just like, because she witnessed it, and that's how I felt when I was looking at all of them, because I was like, the eyes wide open, the mouth agape, just looking like you just see someone who's right there and they're talking to you, and then they're just like gone to nothingness, and there's no body, there's nothing left of them.
Yeah,
that was crazy to me. I could not take it, to be honest with you. I could not.
Yeah, that's why it was so traumatizing. And then it was like, after all that, and, everybody's dusted, or half the people were dusted. It's like friggin' Hamlet, guys. Everybody was dead at the end. It's just like, and then the credits come up and you're like, what?
The credits weren't even nice. And you know how in Marvel movies, they always do some awesome, like, credit art. And, I love the way they put I love the way they do ending credits now, where they, like, actually have the names come up for the main people, and it's, like, some cool thing that...
Some kind of cool thing goes on.
Some kind of cool design that goes with the movie. Yeah. And so I always look for that. This time, there was nothing, just the blackness.
Screen. It's like, no, there was nothing to be happy about.
Exactly. And I mean, the last word of the movie was, oh, God. From Steve Rogers, Captain America. That was the last word of the movie. And everyone's just like, wow, we lost. We really lost. Thanos got all of the Mind Stones, and we lost. And like half the people we love are gone.
Yeah.
By the way, first of all, I just should have known what kind of movie this was when in the first 10 minutes, Loki dies.
Oh my god, I love Loki so much.
That mischievous little imp, but I didn't want him to go out like that.
Like, the one that like kind of traumatized me the most was actually Vision dying.
Oh my gosh,
because everybody else like disintegrated, so it didn't look like painful or anything. They just kind of like Spider-Man. He was like, I don't feel so good when he was like disintegrating, but it didn't look like he was like in pain. But like when Thanos like ripped the Infinity Stone out of Vision's head and he just like fell down and you see it's all grayed out and his eyes are just like gray and stuff, I was like, oh my god, that's like...
What was so terrible about that scene was that you have this love, this is one of the topics we want to talk about.
Oh god, yes.
You have this awesome love blossoming between
Scarlet
Witch and Vision. And I'm all for it. Droid love is good, I guess. And I still remember talking about how that was going to happen, but it transcends that particular thing. It transcends that, and we're not going to that, if y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but I love this love connection that they had, this love, really, that they had for each other. And so it was an agony that she had to... First of all, like, everybody was trying to protect Vision in the first place, because why? He had a Mind Stone. He was the only one on Earth that had one, besides Doctor Strange, who was already in space, another place, with the other Mind Stone that was on Earth. Right?
Oh, no.
It wasn't the other,
Infinity
the Time Stone, sorry. The other Infinity Stone. Thank you for correcting me. But then you see her, like, everyone was like, go, you gotta do it. You have to destroy the Mind Stone. Destroy it, so that he can't get it, right? So she goes through this agonizing decision to destroy the Mind Stone, the thing that's keeping the one she loves alive and there. So she goes through that, puts all her power into even, like, trying to stop him as well.
And she actually held him off, which was pretty badass. Because Thanos is, like, straight powerful, especially because he already had, like, 5 Infinity Stones, including the Power Stone. So for her to have been able to hold him off while she was trying to destroy the Mind Stone was, like, girl power. Power.
Scarlett, you did a good job.
Yes.
There you go. Mary-Kate and Ashley's little sister. You're doing awesome stuff, Miss Olsen, okay?
Yes.
Miss Olsen. But, for her to go through that, and then he just went, because he had the Time Stone, he just went back in time.
Well, he didn't go back in time. He reversed time on that specific
moment, right?
the time stone, it's not like you're turning back, because, you know, most movies, when you turn back time, you're turning back time for everything and everyone except for you. Mm-hmm. With the time stone, you can turn back time for just, like, specific things, like in Doctor Strange, when he just turned back time for the apple. Mm-hmm. Nothing else was affected, it was just the apple. So Thanos directed it just at where Vision had been and brought him back. So he didn't turn... Sorry, guys. I just wanted to clarify that. He didn't turn everything back, because everyone was, like, watching him F up everything by turning time back just on Vision so that he was brought back.
So he could get the stone. And so it's like you had to watch him die twice.
Yes. It was awful. Because it took so much for her to be able to even do that in the first place with how much she loved him. And then you're going to bring him back and then rip it out. One thing he said, like, remember when Vision was like, you know, you have to do it. He was like, you could never hurt me. He was like, when you touch me, all I feel is you. And I was just like, so he was like, if you do it, it won't be painful to me because it's you. All I feel is love.
But when he did it, it was vicious.
Yes, oh my God.
It was just vicious and, scathing and
which brings up just like a theme that Bola had pointed out, which is sacrifice, love and sacrifice. Because another one, which didn't go down the same way, was Star-Lord and Gamora. Oh God! Because when she made Star-Lord promise to kill her if she ever got captured by Thanos, because she knew the location of the Soul Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone. And she knew that Thanos would get it out of her if he ever got her. So she made Star-Lord promise to kill her if that ever happened. And eventually he did promise. But then in that scene, when Star-Lord's got his gun pointed at her head, and Thanos is basically like taunting him, like, are you gonna do it? You can't do it. And he does pull a trigger. Mm-hmm. But bubbles come out because he's got the reality stone, so he can like just change reality around him.
It's a weird stone. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's you think about these kind of things when they make this kind of like, the stones, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't ever think reality is one of the stones, one of the things you would pick to be as like power, time, space. All sound like something, those big forces that you need to control or that need to be protected. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even soul does, and time, space, soul.
Is there a space stone?
Yeah, the Tesseract was the space one.
Oh, okay.
And Loki and them had it. I guess you can control space.
Because I would have thought that, to me, the reality stone is what I would... Okay, maybe matter. Maybe reality stone is best equated to, like, matter. It can change matter. I think of, like... Sorry for this, like, really weird parallel, you guys. But Pixar's Inside Out, when they tried to take the shortcut to get through, and they were, like, turned into different, like... They turned into, like, Picasso-looking things and stuff. To me, that's, like, kind of what the reality stone does. You can just, like, change...
Yeah, or I guess it's perception, because reality's... I don't know. Is reality perception?
No, not necessarily, because I think he changed the actual makeup of whatever...
So you can, like, bend reality. Bend reality to your will, whatever you want reality. So exactly. It's like, that gun really has bubbles in it.
Yep.
No more bullets.
Yeah.
And that, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was another sad death. There were two types of death. The ones that were irreversible, we know they're not coming back. And the ones where we have no idea what's going on. They have to fix this in Infinity War 2. Just so you know. And Gamora and Loki were among the two that were like, no, they are not coming back for any more movies. And so to get the Soul Stone, what's his name? Thanos had to sacrifice
what he loved most.
And that's where I really wrote this thing down, because it was like, even Gamora herself was looking at him. She was laughing and mocking him, because she's like, you love nothing. But in his weird, twisted way, he did love her. But I'm like, you didn't, because you were willing to give her up, just to get the stone.
That doesn't mean that he doesn't love her.
You think so?
Yeah, because look at how many people, how many people get murdered, and what are the most, who are the usual suspects? It's usually someone a loved one. Crimes of passion, they call it, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that doesn't preclude people from doing some really, and I mean, think of like just things that happen just like regularly in life. People get at who can hurt you most? The people who love you.
Yeah, it's true. I just thought it was messed up.
Because it was like totally messed up.
Yeah, apparently, he actually shed some of his little thug tears.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the I guess it was called the Dark Curse from Once Upon a Time that the Evil Queen cast, because she loved her father. Because at first, when she tried to cast the curse, she tried to sacrifice her horse, but it wasn't good enough because you had to like be.
It had to be something like almost equal. So
that you loved like the most.
Yes.
She did really, really love her horse, but it just was not enough. She ended up having to sacrifice her father, who was like the one person in her life who had ever always supported her, always truly loved her. But the thing of it is, he actually kind of volunteered. He was like, if this is what you need to be happy, to heal, to be satisfied in life, then do it. Yeah. And she did. And it reminded me of that, like, except for Gamora didn't volunteer, you bastard.
And I was just like, and the funny thing was, I was thinking about how, because we're in the scene where they were going to this place to get the Soul Stone anyway. It was like a mountain they were climbing. And it was almost like, I remember I had the image of, Abraham and Isaac is when God asked him to sacrifice him for himself. Sacrifice his son Isaac. And it was like the trek up is a father, you know, and Thanos claims to be a father of, anyway. He claimed to be the father of Gamora, but, and he also, just kind of stole her from her home country and destroyed like half the people. So, yeah. But it reminded me of that image, but it didn't end the same way, you know? It was just like, you have to sacrifice her, and he did, you know? There was no ram in the bush, there was no other person that could take her place. And it was almost like, because she knew where it was almost like that was her destiny almost. Like, she was definitely going to have to die for knowing about that. You know what I mean? And that struck me a lot. And I was just like, I can't believe he killed the girl. Gamora's gone because of that. So then I was like, does that mean there's not going to be a Guardian of the Galaxy 3?
Who knows? You know, most of the people
without her.
Most of the characters in the Marvel universe have died like 3-5 times. You're not a Marvel character if you haven't died at least 2 times.
I just wonder if everybody's going to come back because they're just going to reverse everything.
There will probably be some people who legitimately will be just gone. But, yeah, I don't know.
Can we talk about how Chris Evans looks so hot?
Oh,
with the beard.
My goodness. That beard. He looks so sexy. He looked the best I've ever seen him.
Yes. I loved it so much. And I was like, when he was in the shadows, when he was helping Vision and Scarlet, I think they were in Scotland at the time, in the beginning of the movie, when he was just the shadow and the outfit, he was like rogue Captain America, you know? And therefore even hotter.
Yes, so sexy.
Yes, because of the ruggedness of the beard. He just looked good. Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. We're blurting out about the men's. I forgot to mention that about Miami. Anyway, let's not go there. But I like that he came back. I did feel it was kind of messed up that him and Robert Downey Jr. Him and Iron Man could not even get to the point where, like, this was a big deal, and Iron Man could not bring himself to contact him.
Well, he was going to, but then he got, like...
Are you sure he was going to? I felt like he really
remember, he was, like, he was about to dial, but then, like, the whole stuff happened with the... Yeah.
But the thing is, he was about to, but you're not sure. You could always be like, and then change your mind.
You could. But since
and it was actually Banner that contacted him. Banner contacted him.
He did, but Tony was about to. Because, I mean, this was the end of the world. He wasn't going to let...
He was like, oh, shit's hitting the fan. And we saw Pepper Potts for like a second. So, I'm not going to lie. After Iron Man 3... I mean, not Iron Man. After Civil War, I was like, are him and Pepper Potts over?
No!
It seemed like it was.
Because you didn't watch Spider-Man.
That's why.
Okay. Yeah, they got engaged at the end of Spider-Man.
Oh, that's
and
why.
I think by Infinity War, I think they were already married.
And that's bad transmedia watching, you guys, because if you want to stay engrossed in the world, you gotta know what's going on in all the planes. So I did not watch Spider-Man Homecoming, and I definitely should.
It's awesome. Oh my god, that's like such an awesome movie. You really need to see it.
I need to watch that one. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. What were some of your other favorite moments?
Ooh, girl power, you guys.
Yes.
This, I don't even know what the name of the villain is, but
her name was Carrie Coon.
Okay.
From what I saw online.
Okay.
Only reason why I know this is because I was looking at Winston Duke, aka my husband. He don't know yet. Who plays M'Baku. I just follow him on Instagram, like stalk. Anyway, but he was he put in one of his stories that Black Panther was nominated for several fight scenes for like a Choice Award thing. I don't know if it was Kids' Choice or Nickelodeon Choice Awards or something, but he was pointing it out that they had Black Panther and his fight, M'Baku and T'Challa's fight was nominated for Best Fight. But I also saw on the list was the Infinity War fight, and the main fight was the one that was nominated was between Carrie Coon, Okoye.
Who was Carrie Coon?
She was the only girl of Thanos' like henchman.
Oh, was that the actual character's name?
That's what it said, because it was like, I knew, it said it was from Infinity War.
Huh.
I'll show you. It said it was from Infinity War. And so the only time I remember that you had Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and Okoye fighting one person was that girl.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it said all of them versus Carrie Coon. And I was like, is that her name? Because that's a weird name for some alien, but whatever. And so that fight scene was awesome. And I love, that's how you love my girl Okoye, because as soon as Scarlet Witch came down to do some stuff, she just used her little powers, and then those big rolling things just like disappeared and killed a bunch of those nasty things. And she was like, what was she doing up there the whole time? She's like, why wasn't she down here when this was going down, you know? Because she's protecting Vision. That was such a Black thing to say. Like, what was she doing up there? She got power. Let her come down. I loved it. That fight scene was awesome.
That was awesome.
I was almost
but I just loved it because I was like, squee, girl power. Look at the girls kicking ass.
Kicking ass and taking names.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. And it's so interesting because Scarlet Witch turned out to be like one of the most powerful ones. Because look at the way she was like dominating as soon as she got down there.
I love her character, actually.
She is awesome.
She's been blossoming since then. I wonder how Quicksilver would have done if they had let him live. But alas, they did not. Anyway, he was hot too.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
The actor Aaron Johnson, he was hot. But as Quicksilver, but she's just been blossoming since she's been part of the Avengers.
Yeah,
you know?
she has. She hasn't gotten like a whole lot of like screen time as compared to like a number of other characters, but when she's been on screen, she's been really compelling character to see. Yeah, I
like watching her. I noticed that. I pay attention to her a lot.
Yes,
I like all the characters, and there's not a single character I haven't liked in the Marvel universe except for the villains. You know, don't really care. But there's like most of the characters, I love them all really. Even the side ones. So. What was I getting at? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, her. Yeah, so to see her and watch her, but for some reason, with her, I just start paying attention.
Yeah.
Something about her face and the way she does stuff, and I even like her little witchy hands. And she's like, you know? And it's like she developed that as her style in which her power comes out. Her power seems so immense and awesome. Yeah. You know? That she does need to. I can get why they were fighting over about her in Civil War about containing these big powers. You know, what about Banner not hulking out in this whole episode?
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Oh my god,
The Hulk got his butt whooped near the beginning by Thanos. Thanos, like, smeared the floor with him. So then, anytime Bruce was trying to get himself to Hulk out, the Hulk was like, no! It's like, you asshole!
He's like, the one time we need. And so I'm like, yo, what's up with Hulk? How come you don't want to come join the fight?
Because he's so used to dominating everyone that I guess the time when he gets his butt whooped that bad, he's like, no.
But he didn't come out. He was in the... Yeah, he was
at the very beginning.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was
like,
a messed
right
up
after
scene.
Loki got, like...
Oh, yeah. I think his name is Ram. The Idris Elba's character, like, just dying in the first 5 minutes. Hemdall, yeah. I was pissed. I was like, not my sexy, but the eyes and the bifrost and the eyes.
I'm sorry, but yeah, the scene where it's like, when Thor gets rescued by the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they're on there, and he's talking about, when they split up, he's like, Thanos hasn't faced me before. He's like, yes, he has. He's like, he's never faced me twice.
Thor's so foolhardy with his, like, has such bravado and confidence, and he's just, I love that.
I know, and when Star-Lord was trying to like, he made his voice deeper so he could sound more like Thor.
First of all, can you just go back to, I have to give Marvel props because not only did they do well with the storyline, just managing that many characters.
Oh my god, yes.
At once, and then having a fluid story, and you have this war happening on several planes, and
not feeling like any one character was just like a throwaway. Yeah, that is amazing to have done.
Yes, and I was like in awe. I was like, how did they manage to weave the story that way? The intersections, like they managed to, like, okay, we're gonna do Thor's scene, and then we're gonna have them run into the Guardian of the Galaxy guys. We're gonna have Iron Man run into the Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. We're gonna have Captain America link up with all the Wakandans. You know, it was like they just put it together, and then everybody converged in one, and Thanos was doing his thing as well.
And ooh, can I bring up another girl power thing I just want to talk about? Black Widow.
Oh yeah,
Black Widow has no powers, and she was kicking ass against all these aliens. I'm like, that is some real girl power there. No powers, but just wiping the floor. And the fact that you even came, because me, I don't know about y'all, but me, if I don't have any powers, I'm like, I'm not going. I'm sorry, I'm not going.
It's such a black thing to say. Like, yeah. Like, I don't got no firepower. Like, y'all can do all that. Like, Hawkeye was not even in the movie. I remember, and I told my sister, because I had read a spoiler. I had seen a glimpse of a spoiler in somebody's Instagram story. By the way, don't ever do that, y'all. That's just dumb. Like, don't do that. You know you've seen the movie. Nobody else has. Don't just put, like, a spoiler thing up where you just show that everybody died. I remember I didn't look at the faces. I just saw the words died everywhere. And I was like, I switched off of it real quick. So I didn't know who died, but I knew somebody was going to die.
Mm-hmm. A lot of somebodies.
Exactly. Later did I find out that many somebodies died. And I was like, no. But I was mad because me and my sister were speculating about who could it be. And she was like, oh, it's Arrow. And I'm like, Arrow?
There is no Arrow.
There is no Arrow in Marvel. You're talking about, that's DC. You talking about Hawkeye? She's like, yeah, that one. He's going to die. I was like, why would you think that? She's like, he's not important. Why? And I'm like, just because you don't find him important doesn't mean he's gonna die. And he wasn't even in the movie, so he definitely didn't die. So I was just, don't do that, y'all. Don't put spoilers up in your. That was very, just not nice. But the fact that all those characters were there and then they ended up dying, I was just like, I don't know how Marvel, gets away with doing this, making something awesome and tragic at the same time. Like, I don't get it. I was thoroughly perplexed after watching this. And I was like, they're going to fix this, right? They're going to fix this, right?
Is what I was.
And you know...
I'm going to need so much I needed therapy after that.
And I was like, the one that made me really... The one that hit home was when Peter died, because he was like, I want to go... The way he died, you're just like, oh... But I was actually more pissed when Black Panther disappeared. I was like, what about Black Panther 2?
Maybe sure you will wear the Black Panther suit. Because
we don't know what happened to her. Point. She got knocked out at one point, and we don't know if she disappeared or not. So that's crazy. I can't wait to see what was going on in Wakanda after. Like, I can't wait for a Black Panther 2 so we can see the after effect. Because Okoye was like, I remember when they were talking about gathering everybody together. And they were, like, listing off who was going to be available for the war. Mm-hmm. And then she had brought up the border tribe, but she said, what's left of them? And I was like, what does that mean? Are you talking about the ones that, like, got hurt in combat? Did some of them die? Did they get cast out of the Wakanda?
I would think that maybe some of them died during that battle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because, I mean, they had a good number of them during Infinity War, because they had, the SHIELD stuff. Mm-hmm. At the beginning when they were like...
I know. So that's what I saw that. And all of that stuff was awesome. But those evil, nasty alien things. And I hated when they were like all converging and moving too fast. Ugh, I always hate when too many of the same thing are like... Ugh, it just bothers me. Like, you don't like the wax stuff. I don't like that. Like, I don't want to see a bunch of flies all in one thing.
It's not wax specifically for me. It's unnatural movements or something that's too close to being human without being human.
Yeah, that creeps you out. And me, I don't like seeing too many things of the same thing all converging on top of each other. Mm-hmm. I don't like it of any kind. There was like a commercial about a pill or something. Mm-hmm. And the pill had like... For some reason, there was a graphic as part of the commercial where like a bunch of boxes like converged on the person, mm-hmm. and they were all like moving on them. I could not watch it because it was creeping me out. I hate looking at stuff like that. I was like, take this off. So it disturbed me. I hated all those alien things, and they were moving so fast. But the problem was they were so dumb. They were killing themselves trying to get through the border. Like as soon as they were getting in, they were sliced in half, and I was like. This is dumb.
Well, some of them got through, though.
Some of them did, but I guess they got through on the holes that the other ones made.
But it closed up, though, after some of them got chopped. So it's just sheer numbers, which is what I guess their strategy was. Like, this is our cannon fodder, essentially.
Oh, God, it was just so terrible.
Yeah.
All to get a vision. I remember I was watching something today about the theories about the movie, and they were talking about how the whole point about... They were saying a thing that they saw was that one life mattered. It was like they were fighting that whole one life to save the whole war just to save one life, which is Vision. Mm-hmm. They wanted to keep Vision around, keep Vision alive, not having to let him, die. And then I think he had said something too about how Gamora's one life was what was needed for Thanos to get what he needed, and also about how Nebula. Just to save her sister, Gamora, because she probably knew what Thanos was going to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she knew. She knew that Gamora knew where the Soul Stone was. Mm-hmm. So she knew that the guy was crazy. So she knew what was happening. So she was working. As soon as she got put back together, she was like, no, I'm going to get Thanos. We're going to kill him. We have to stop him just to save Gamora. But they were too late,
Yeah.
And so I saw that theme and I could see it. Because it's like, you look at it, it's like, yeah, they really were all trying to save Vision. And a lot of stuff happened, but of course they were also just trying to stop Thanos from becoming that powerful with all the stones, So that was just something interesting that I saw that I liked. The fight scenes were awesome. There were so many.
There were.
You can't even talk about them all.
Yeah.
Just all great. But we did love the girl power one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I actually liked the one between Thanos and Doctor Strange. I loved how that one went down. Doctor Strange used, he was fighting in tandem with Peter Parker and... But the section where it was just him fighting, I thought it was...
When he, multiplied himself and stuff?
Yes,
that was pretty cool.
I thought he was going to do it. I was like, oh, this is sweet. He's going to do it. I was like, this is awesome. It reminded me of Naruto, because Naruto, he has his... I think, he has this little clone thing that he does. I forgot. I used to know what it was in Japanese. I used to be like... Oh, Kage no Bushin? Anyway, it was Shadow Clones is what it's called. And so he would make so many of them and do so much stuff. And so it reminded me of that. But he had all his little lassos on that guy, and it didn't really work. But I like how he's bending reality to stave off some of Thanos' attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the guy, like, brought a moon down on them. Like, he literally took a moon from the planet and just... I was like, this guy is too much. He was too much to handle. Way too much.
Yeah, but I mean, did it seem like, were there any actors or actresses that weren't in this movie?
Seriously, everybody was there. Even if they weren't there for long, like M'Baku, he wasn't there for long, but he was in there.
But I'm like people who weren't even in like Marvel before. Like, what's his name from Game of Thrones? What's his name? He's the Hand of the Queen. Sorry.
Oh, I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know.
Sorry, give me 1 second, you guys. I will figure out who it is. He is Peter Dinklage.
Oh yeah, the guy
he was in
the
there.
dwarf actor.
He was the dwarf on that made Thor's axe.
You know what's funny? He was a dwarf, but he was like larger than all of them.
Yeah,
it was so crazy.
He was a giant dwarf. Yeah, but he was in there. I'm like, where are all these people coming from?
Yeah, and I felt for Thor because like his whole family, everything was gone. Like,
exactly, and then he talked about his best friend that died.
Yeah,
and his brother.
I know, and I'm just like, look at it. He had such loss, and I'm just like, damn, why do I have to do Thor like that? Like, everybody died. All the Asgardians were on there. He was the only one left. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Thor died in the beginning. I was like, they killed Thor and Loki in one freaking scene. Because luckily he came back because of all the space dust that they were just all there. You know, and luckily he was still alive, but I thought he died. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah. But let's kind of get to wrapping it up. Mm-hmm. So, ending credits, you guys. Anybody who is a true Marvel fan knows to stay to the very end of the movie. You know, some of the Marvel movies, they'll put it like the earlier part of the credits, like a little scene to kind of give you a tidbit of like an upcoming Marvel movie or maybe even the next sequel to whatever Marvel movie you're watching. But even if you do get it earlier in the credits, still stay to the very end because they'll usually have an additional something at the very, very end. This time, after the carnage that was Infinity War and the trauma and therapy that they put everyone through, you get Nick Fury and I think it's Maria Hill, who we haven't seen in like forever. I don't know when the last time we saw Nick Fury, which I love Nick Fury so much. I love Sam Jackson, period, but I love him as Nick Fury. And I was like, Nick Fury! In a car, and then, you know, you see them driving and it's like, they run into this other car, and the reason it is because half of the people on the planet are disintegrating. So you see this plane going down and these cars. Like, they crash into the car, they get out to look and see what happened. There's nobody in the car because they're disintegrated. So then, Maria Hill, like, disappears, and Sam Jackson's like, man, what's going on? And then he, like, has this little, it looks like a pager.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like a pager or something.
Beat me if you want to reach me.
Yeah. And he's, like, typing something in, like, typing a number in. And as he's doing it, he starts disintegrating, and he's like, oh, shit. But then, like, he disintegrates completely, but before, like, as the beeper, like, drops to the ground, you see that the number has gone through, it's sent, and then you see a symbol appear on it, and now granted, I'm not as familiar with Captain Marvel, and maybe not as many people are familiar with Captain Marvel, but people are probably aware that there's a Captain Marvel movie coming out next year, you guys.
Yes.
But she's going to be the first headliner female superhero for the Marvel Universe, which is kind of sad that it's taking this long. But anyway, we're getting a female superhero.
DC with Wonder Woman. They had the best one. It took them long enough. Well, let's just not talk about DC.
They really had that one.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Shade to the DC.
Yeah.
They did only have that one.
But anyway, it's the symbol. Some people who weren't familiar or didn't know like about the Captain Marvel movie coming up were wondering, well, what's that symbol? And it's Captain Marvel's symbol, so it's like a preview that the next thing to look forward to. Yeah. In addition to the thing that said Thanos will return. Of course he will, because everybody else is dead. But
yeah, him and his god complex happen. Like, why is everybody's solution, the villain solution, like, let's just kill half the world and create balance?
But you know, it's interesting, because you remember, like, when we Bola and I went to the same university. We both went to VCU, and we took one class, maybe 2 classes together. Because we did astronomy together, and then we research writing.
Research writing, yeah.
And the teacher that we started off with, he didn't actually go through the whole semester or something. I think he had a personal... Sick. Okay, got sick. Yeah. So we got a new teacher, and this new teacher, during one of the classes, he talked about the difference between logic and reason. Mm-hmm. And I remember the example he used was he said... so let's say in Scotland, the Potato Rebellion or whatever it was, there's not enough food for everyone, so the solution is to kill half of the people. Mm-hmm. Is that logical? And I was like, no. He's like, actually, it is logical, but it's not reasonable. Mm. So it's interesting because Thanos, his solution was a logical solution. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't a reasonable one. Because logic is just based off of, I guess you would say, just like cause and effect. Mm-hmm. Just if this, then that. Solve the problem. Yes. Yeah. Doesn't take into account ethics, morality, anything. But reason takes into account those type of things. So his solution was a logical solution. And I think it was born out of a type of desperation. Because he had seen his entire planet, all his people die. So I guess... that type of trauma will do different things to different people. So he felt that what he was doing was for the greater good. But we know that, it was the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah. And of course, torturing people, he didn't have to do the whole... But again, he was trying to get to this greater good. He thought that anything that he needed to do would justify that end goal, which to him was saving the universe.
And creating balance,
Yeah, because he said there's not enough for everyone, that there's a finite number of resources in the universe, and there's too many people or beings in the universe for these finite number of resources. So the solution is to kill off half of all of existence, and then there will be enough left for everyone else. Yeah. And then that's one of the things he pointed out to Gamora. She was like, you killed half my people. He's like,
and you killed her mother too. Yeah. And so he's like, yeah, but if you go back to your planet, you'll see there's plenty of this. Your planet,
it's a paradise now, and blah, blah, blah.
I'm like, but you did kill off a bunch of people. Like, people died. Like,
yeah. So it's interesting because
that's a nice point.
He wasn't evil for evil's sake. He had he believed in his cause, and he believed it was for the greater good. But the means was not. Yeah.
Even it looked like at the end he was like, what did it cost him? It cost him
everything. And he even said.
So, like, what are you going to do? Just, like you said, he's just going to sit there on the sunset and watch something, just watch the sunset. And I'm like, but what are you going to do after that?
Yeah. And I know earlier in the movie he said sit in the sunset and I think, didn't he say something about absorbing the appreciation of the universe? I'm like, nobody's going to appreciate you. Nobody's going to appreciate you.
You got some Kanye pills up in there. No, cut that narcissism down, because nobody's going to be thanking you for nothing. You just, anyway, probably throw everything off whack, to be honest with you. But that's, but all in all, we loved the movie. It just was very traumatizing. And my heart, I have to, like, woosah if I watch it again, because I probably will, because I did like it.
Yeah. It's just the ending was like, no, there's a lot of traumatizing parts.
Yeah,
a lot of,
all through. There was a lot of fighting, so it's like a lot of people got hurt. Where I was like, I thought Iron Man was gonna die at one point.
Yeah,
and I was like, are you trying to really go for the jugular right now with all my peoples? But they just got injured badly. I love when Thor came back and like with a hammer, he had like a new axe. Like,
yes.
Oh, anyway, it was just some awesomeness, you guys. Go watch it. Go watch it.
Yeah,
and hopefully,
what will we give it? I would give it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Me too, because it's a decent film. But just
I think it's more than decent
stuff.
I think it was a really great film. It's just the ending was so traumatizing.
Yes, and then I was not even satisfied with the ending clip or anything, because I'm just like, this does nothing to satisfy me about what just happened, what I just saw. I wanted it to be fixed. Even in the theater, everyone sat in their chair because they're like, oh no, we have to see another scene. Like, not a lot of people got up. because some people do, they don't care about the scenes at the end, but everyone was like in confusion. You could just hear the chatter among the audience members because they're like, what was that? And now I got why a lot of people on Instagram and stuff were like not that pleased with the ending of the movie. And you're just like, whoa.
But it's interesting for the Captain Marvel part, because from what I understand, like I said, you guys, I am not as familiar with Captain Marvel as far as Marvel characters, but apparently she's supposed to be like one of the most powerful beings, like, not beings, because she's actually human, but she's part Kree. And that's how she's so powerful, but she's like one of the most powerful Marvel characters, like in the Marvel universe.
I want to learn about her now, because I'm like, can she take on Thanos? Her by herself? Well, she won't be by herself, but
I think that she's going to be I think the reason why it was her, her symbol at the end on the beeper thing is because she's going to be like the saving grace.
But, okay, this is the last thing I will bring up. You remember Doctor Strange did say that if it came down to protecting the stone or Iron Man and Spider-Man's lives, he will pick the stone.
Yes.
Yet he readily gave the stone away.
But he gave the stone away after he looked at all those different futures, though.
So
I feel like somehow it plays into him having Tony alive, plays into how they in the end would be able to defeat Thanos.
It's not even about that. It's just like, since he has seen all the ways, I remember actually Doctor Strange actually did disintegrate in the movie, so he died too. But he said it was the only way.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he must have known.
There was only one way he saw them actually winning.
That was some bad odds. When I saw that, I was like, that's some bad odds right there.
Yeah.
But so, I feel like there is hope in some of this. Because I'm not gonna lie, it looked kind of hopeless at the end of the movie, and I was just like, what is gonna happen? And this is because I didn't even know that there was gonna be an Infinity War 2. I just thought Infinity War was gonna be self-contained in one movie.
Maybe it's not gonna be called Infinity War 2, because if you look at, like, IMDb, it just says Avengers. It says, like, unnamed or something Avengers movie for 2019, because it's supposed to come out, like, in May of 2019, and then Captain Marvel comes out in March of 2019, but it might not be called, like, something to do with Infinity War. So that maybe that's why people weren't aware that there was going to be another Infinity War, because maybe it's not going to be called Infinity War. It's going to be another Avengers, but maybe it'll have a different subtitle.
I can get down with that. I can get down with that. I just hope that Miss Marvel... Well, I know her...
Captain Marvel. Because there's another character that's also called Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's Jean Grey.
Oh, okay. One
of her other names.
I hope she can do something, because I'm really, like, scared. I'm like,
come through, girl power! Come through, girl power!
I really want my people back.
When men want to come into the universe and destroy everything and just F stuff up, what does it take? A woman.
I know! Hey! Girl power!
Girl power!
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really want. I'll tell you what you want, what I really want. I wanna really want to zig zig.
We are so on the same page, because I was about to do the same thing.
That's why you my blurred sister.
Yeah, girl.
Anyway, but I know her movie is gonna take place in a different time, so it's
gonna be an origin
story.
Like the 80s or 90s.
That'll be fine with me. All right.
So before we close out, guys, let's just do we have a Had They Been Black segment today.
Yes, we
do.
And
it's because...
this movie. Trailers that we saw.
Yeah, a trailer right before Avengers Infinity War, and it was for Adrift.
Yes, and Adrift stars Shailene Woodley, who we've seen in the lead girl in Divergent and A Fault in Our Stars, and Sam Claflin, who has been in The Hunger Games, in Snow White the Huntsman, and Me Before You. Those are just a few of his really well-known movies. And so with Hunger Games, he was like, I forget what his name was, but he was basically the really good-looking one that had the spear. That had the spear.
Or shaft or something.
Yeah, he ended up dying in that weird place, but he was one of the ones that won, and who had the girlfriend that he kept trying to get back to. Anyway, so look him up. He was in Hunger Games. But there's a movie that they're doing, and it's called Adrift, and it's actually based on a true story. Now, me and Whitney were watching this trailer, and basically the story is that two lovers went out into the middle of the ocean sailing, and a big storm knocked them off course, and they were stuck in the middle of nowhere.
I guess it's hard for me to tell if it was a sailboat or if it was a yacht. It looked like it had sails, so I guess it was a yacht.
Yeah, it was a sailboat.
Because there are small yachts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a sailboat because it did have sails.
Mm-hmm. And so basically, like I said, the big storm comes, knocks on all course, and they are like stuck out in the middle of the ocean, not knowing what to do. The guy is all broken up, bruised up. She had to go get him.
Because at one point you see this wave. It looks like it's like a mile high. And they're a tiny sailboat. It's not like one of those sailboats where you just take it out just for skimming. It's a large sailboat, but not like super large. Not like yacht size yacht large, but it's not tiny. But it is not gonna, stand up to this mile high wave.
Exactly. And so I was looking at this movie, and basically it is like a romance love story. I think it's very interesting that it is from a true life story, so kind of like a biopic. But me and Whitney were looking at that movie, and we instantly like, oh no. No, because what? Black people would not be out there in the first place. I'm like, what you doing all the way out in the middle of the water? There would be no movie, because we'd just be like, that boat's not big enough.
I'm not going.
And
I'm sorry, I'm not going.
Now, had they been black, there would be no movie. There would be no need. They were like, no.
I'm gonna need
this boat to be like twice the size.
I'm gonna go to the most maybe a mile out from shore.
Exactly, and come right back.
Exactly.
You're not gonna see me in the middle.
If I can't see the shore, I'm not going.
It's WPs. That's what you always
see. Short
of
being on the cruise ship because you can't see it, but I still feel slightly wary about that. But cruise ship is big enough where I'm like, okay, I'm okay. But no, not in a little sailboat.
We would not. And I'm gonna post a link to the trailer so you guys can see the craziness of this movie and the things that they have to undergo, the things that they experience. And for real people to experience this, I'm just like, y'all are too adventurous for me. I'm like, why can't y'all stay near the coast? Like, just, don't go out too far. Y'all over there sailing all over the place and then getting lost, not being able to communicate with people, you getting like, hypothermia and all that kind of stuff. I'm not about that life.
Communications range. That's crazy.
Why
would you go far enough where you can't even get like Coast Guard doesn't know where you? There's like they were talking about like there's 1,000-mile radius or something for them to search in order for them to even find them once they know that they're missing.
I'm sorry.
And how do they know that they're missing? If you're not in communication range, then how do people know if you're missing? Because they're like, they're going to be out of range anyway.
If black people can't see the lifeguard, we ain't going out that far, okay? Yeah. So that movie, we were looking at it, but we were just like, no. We both looked at each other and together, we're like, no.
Just no.
So that's our segment for Had They Been Black, and that's our show for this time. Yeah, that's it.
All right, peace out, you guys.
Love you all. Have an awesome day. Keep blerding out.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to our show on whatever podcast listening app you use and share the show with other blerds and non-blerd family and friends. And if you like our episode, please rate and review us on iTunes.
The intro and outro music is Twilight by Caption. You can find them on SoundCloud, username Caption, spelled CAPSHUN. The show notes are by Bola Hansen, and the audio engineering is by Whitney Booker.
And you can contact us by email at blerdtalkbw@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to get social, you guys. You can find us on our social media at Instagram and Twitter, with our @handle being @blerdtalkbw. And we've got our individual things going on too, y'all. So you can find me, your blerd fashionista, on Instagram and Twitter at BolaStoryB. That's B with 2 E's like the insect. And I've got my own personal YouTube channel, just Bola Shade. That's BOLASHADE. D as in dog, E as in elephant.
And this is Whitney. You can find me at my company, Luminavi Studios. The email address is wit@luminavi.com. That's WHIT@LUMENAVI.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Luminavi Studios.